Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, 10 a.m. Central, from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, it's Tuesday. That means it's Cartography and World Building Day. But we've been doing a bunch of world building for the last bunch of weeks, so let's switch it up. Do a cartography thing today. Actually, this kind of came to me after seeing a post on Facebook. So it's sort of a spur of the moment thing. This picture was posted on Jane 108 Academy. It's a cell model image. According to the caption, it was the most detailed model of a human cell to date, obtained using X-rays, nuclear magnetic resonance, and cryo-electron microscopy. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Data sets. They continued regarding its source and credit transformation of the cellular landscape through eukaryotic, no way, not even eukaryotic. I'm not even close, I'm sure. Cell by Evan Gale McGill. Digizyme's custom Maya molecular software by Logia AI Instant. I don't know if that's French or what. You tell me. Well, you can look it up and follow back up on it using the caption that'll be in the show links after the show's over. Man, I thought I butchered words out of the DMG pretty regular. I nailed like three in that one, huh? Not bad. Not bad. A whole pile of mispronunciations. Well, what do we got anyway? We've got this model image, a super detailed model image of a cell, and I saw it, and the first thing I thought is somehow this should be transferred or transformed into a a city map for a sci-fi setting, something like Traveler or something else, whatever your sci-fi setting of choice is. Let me pop it up over here. I rotated it right. It's slightly taller than it is wide, so I rotated it right so that I could get most of it in there. And also I put it up this way. Yeah, you can see the cursor. The background's dark enough that it's easy to spot everything. So they're these tall, are they spires? Right? They look like stacks of single spheres, but they have a slight spiral upward to them or downward, depending on where you start, right? So those are kind of neat. There's one there, and there's one down in the far lower right that look like that. Somebody on Facebook, I posted this up in the OK Grognard Show Facebook group, and somebody mentioned that these yellow blobs look like dice. I don't know, 20-sider? What has a pentagon? That's a 20-sider, right? And a 30-sider has 4 facings on it. Yeah, these would be 20-sided dice, I would think. We've got something that could be a very strange road or possibly walled off area, right? If this was on the left was like a some kind of flow, whether it's a river or whatever. These could be some sort of balconies, or these could be turrets for defense of this wall. But these over here, I don't know. These split off like that with these odd down in the lower right. These odd shaped, they almost look like vents of some sort. And then it splits, and that's obviously like a wall structure. This, to the right, lower right, has a kind of fibrous look to it, and the spiraled fibers underneath it are strange. And these delicious looking pieces of pasta, I don't know what's going on with those either. Those spirals are flat spirals, right? More like pasta noodles of some sort. What is that? Rotini? What do we call that? The Rotini garden out here behind the wall? I don't know. Some more of it inside here too. So this is interesting. Kind of middle, slightly left, lower. This sphere that has a sort of a net around it. Interesting. And I'm just describing the various shapes and whatnot. I'm not picking them out yet for designation. Up in the center, there is this huge section, but just to the left of it, notice this sort of it's not a swastika because they curl, right? Thank you. I'm glad that's not the case. I hate to think we'd have something like that living inside us. I don't even know if it's a human cell, though, so to be honest, where we're at with that is another whole nother matter. Look at this fluffy, like, flower-like shape. It's almost like an explosion there. And then there's all these very unusual shapes. Oh, I wanted to get back over here. So this long wall on the right-hand side. Notice all these bits and pieces that are touching the wall, protruding from it, attached to it. Upper right, sort of here, if you can see where my cursor is, there's a sort of a tuning fork stuck into it. And just on the other side of the wall, what is with the back and forth? Is that a bunch of smaller pasta spirals again, sticking up out of the lower level? Interesting. Feel free to chime in on the chat if you have something to add about some part of this structure. This kind of middle right center is interesting. Almost looks like a mine, right? A sphere with protuberances out of it, sort of detonator pegs. Not sure how to describe those properly, but I think that gets the point across. These first ones I was describing, in the far lower right and in the center upper right, you can kind of see that there's more of these in the background down below, popping up here and there, but they go pretty far down. It would be... Now, I say this knowing full well it wouldn't make much difference to what I'm doing. I was going to say it would be interesting to have a legend for this detailing what these various shapes are representing. This is, after all, a model, right? This is a model, a digital model of a microscopic cell structure. Again, that's using X-rays and other digital enhancements to distinguish the various shapes and individual parts, if you will, of this cell structure. But all of these must have been identified in some way for them to be able to make the model and decide on the various colorations. I'm sure some of it must have to do with the structures and the heats, the various amounts of heat that individual, because it's all got to be slightly different, right? So it would be interesting, at least in kind of a trivial way for me, that is, to have information about what each of these parts are. Look on the outside of this wall, so to speak, on the left. Look at these straighter pieces that kind of act almost like a webbing on the outside of this wall, that not on the insides of any of the other pieces, right? It's almost like a lattice work, a webbing of some kind. I don't know if that's meant to catch things that come up against it or flow past it. Within that flow, we have all of these other shapes. The blue ones in particular are interesting in that they may have they're like nodules at various points. They seem to bend or twist back around, loop back around on themselves based on that, almost like a spread out power cord that has been twisted so many times that it retains its various double back shapes. There's all sorts of other little bits and pieces within that flow. More of these pink. See upper center there? Remember this thicker, larger, puffy, flower-like looking structure? Almost looks like a kind of chrysanthemum or something, perhaps. Obviously, it's not that, but that's just the shape that's the image I'm drawing on metaphorically. Looks like there are pieces of that same type of thing out here, and perhaps it's just the colors that they've chosen for these out here, that is making me draw that conclusion. But it also seems like they would have chosen colors and known that others would have drawn that conclusion. Perhaps they meant me to draw that conclusion based on the colors they chose. Anyway, if we were looking at this, all right, part of what makes this something you could play around with as a something you could convert into a map for a science fiction game. And I'd say science fiction. Obviously, you could do something that was just sort of another plane in a fantasy game, for instance. You could do something that was some bizarre interior interior space. It was something within the mind you could do in a Cthulhu-esque sort of game. This is something you encounter. How large you are when you encounter this makes all the difference in the world. In the world. But if you were to look at this as a overhead view of a city, and if these were these spires, which I think stand out and need explanation, would be some types of buildings, and these would be various buildings also, some sort of dome structures, right? With a wall, and as I said before, maybe turrets, battlements, perhaps observational decks that look out into maybe an uninhabitable area from the city, or possibly, as we said, a flowing area, more like a river or an ocean out here. Maybe this is just a huge fish farm for them, or the equivalent of a place where all of their food is growing, and these are harvesting stations, right? Something like that. And again, I'm just brainstorming here off of this. Feel free to grab any of this that strikes you as useful and use it as a springboard to take it even further. Something else you can do would be to go to that map on Facebook and click on it, bigify it, right click on it. If you're using Chrome, it's what I use. There are other ways with other browsers, but off the top of my head, I'll just do it this way. Do a Google search for image within it from right clicking on it. And then when you get there, roll on down and see the visually similar images. Because that, I think, is where you find even more potential inspiration. I'm going to flip off the bookmarks and we'll bring this over here and we'll, yeah, we can leave it like that and then pop over to this other image. So once you have gone to a search for it, an image search for it after having right clicked on it, and you see the various size option, so you can get a larger size of it if you're actually going to work with it. Associate Professor, Scripps Research University. Here's he holding a model of a molecule there. Good for him. Well, he's a year older than me. Yeah, got a bit of gray on him. Anyway, go down to visually similar images. Click on that. And now you've got other versions of the same or closer up enhanced versions of it, right? So you can see it. And also other images that have been created to model cells. And once you have all of these, well, you've got yourself, once you've decided how you're going to switch one of these, transform one of these into a map, you can go here and you've got yourself a treasure trove of other potential maps. Not completely sure exactly how you do it or how you describe everything. And maybe that's not the point after all. Maybe you only explain what you feel is necessary to explain at the time, right? Give just enough information. It's quite possible that if you're using this for a science fiction setting and you're talking about the idea of explorers in, let's say, a Traveler game going to another world and discovering this from above and finding out that there's some life forms living in, maybe the whole thing's a life form. Maybe that's their building material is all organic. But maybe they discover that there's a sentient life form that they want to contact down in one given area of this. Maybe their instruments, if they're trying to figure out what's what down there, maybe their instruments aren't calibrated to make sense of most of it. And maybe the only things that they're making sense of draw them toward where the clues are as to what the whole thing is, or where the sentient life forms are that you can then communicate with. And but stay off the planet because it's inhospitable to human life. It'd kill ya. It's too hot. It's too icky. Anyway, these are just some thoughts I had after seeing this on my Facebook feed this morning and thinking, geez, it's a cartography day. And after this struck me as a potential source for image conversion into maps, I just decided to go with it right away and brainstorm extemporaneously during the show with what could be done. Kind of a peek into the loose creative process, not to get too grandiose about it, but I think it's an interesting thought experiment. Even if I don't ever run another science fiction game for the rest of my life, it's fun putting some brain power towards something like this and figuring out what I would do if I was going to use it and sharing the ideas. And if you have ideas of your own, feel free to, like I say, use what little I put forth here as a springboard to your own creativity and play around with it more and expand on it and make it your own. I certainly don't have a proprietary license on thinking about these types of things, and they've been thought about before me, and they'll be thought about after by people that have never known that I ever had these thoughts. So don't think of this as something that I've stamped my little trademark stamp or copyright stamp on. Nothing like that here. Full credit to the image, by the way, be in the show notes. This is a educational sort of video, so I guess we're covered there for having shown it off. And there you go. Well, listen, it's not the longest show in the world. What else did we have to talk about for today? It's cartography and world building. I guess we could think about a little world building here, but I think we're done. Hey, not every show has to be a full half hour, right? Let's call it done and we'll move on. I want to thank everybody who follows the show and who chimes in during the stream chat. Always kind of you to do that. I'd also like to say that did we do the thing? Oh, Johnny Gilbert won the thing. I never made the announcement yesterday because I wasn't sure when I'd be able to make sure he got what he's got coming. I got something for him. I'll give it to him. That'll be that. Anyway, that catches me up with that. Thanks again to everybody who joined me over the weekend at Gamehole Con. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun playing in games, running games, doing the seminars, and late breaking announcement. Could have been done yesterday, but I didn't know about it yesterday. I'm not sure anybody did. GaryCon has canceled their physical convention for this coming March, and it's definitely going to be virtual only. So they're pivoting to that. Of course, this year, disappointing. We're not going to have a physical GaryCon. Grand Geneva's 5 minutes away, and I'm a lifetime gamer. There's nobody more disappointed than I. They're plenty as disappointed, I'm sure. But virtual con, well, you know what? I've been to 5 virtual cons now and run games at them. And I have almost 5 months to prepare for this next one. So expect some big things coming for that. I am going to make the most of it. I hope everybody does. I think because all of this pandemic stuff really hit home right about the same time that GaryCon was canceled last year, or earlier this year rather, last time around. I think we had no time really for those of us who weren't familiar with or weren't good at or didn't have much of an understanding of how to deal with gaming virtually, virtual tabletops and whatever. Well, now we've had 8 months and we've got another 4 to let it all gel for us. So everybody should be getting on their horse and starting to prepare stuff and getting ready to run stuff, and we'll make the most of it. Anyway, well, that took us up to time, didn't it? Okay, well, I want to say thank you very much for following the channel, chiming in on the stream chat when you do. And when you do, we'll take your name and we'll put you on a list because we use that list just to sort out, get rid of the bots, make sure that we're not chasing down bots for a giveaway, because we do a giveaway every week. We're done with the virtual Gamehole Con badges, obviously, because We're done with Virtual Game Hall Con. But I've got these nifty, I don't know if you can see that, some nifty skull dice. And I got a couple of packs of those, so I'm going to divvy them up into 5 pairs. I'm going to take them down to the Gary Gygax Memorial Stone down by the Riviera. Pop them down on there, take a picture, and then use them, the pairs of them, as prizes. So those should be nice prizes. Anywho, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us today. If I ask you to, will you come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. and every day? Come back as often as you want. We do this show every day, 10 a.m. Central. Beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. But hey, what else do we got going on? Tomorrow is campaign discussion, Wednesdays. GMing tips on Thursdays. We do building adventures on Fridays. GM reviews on Saturday. Rules retrospective on Sunday. Weekly news and announcements on Monday. Back around the horn to cartography and world building on Tuesdays. If you are catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much for that too. Please do subscribe to the channel and also give us a thumbs up on any videos that you watch and enjoy. If you have some constructive criticism, please do leave it in the comments section. Or an attaboy, pat on the back, we like those too. A warm fuzzy, sure, why not? We're always happy to make the show better with your feedback too, so thank you very much for any of that. Appreciate it. This is the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Coming up close on, what are we at, 243? Another week we'll be on episode 250. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.